but still being a dreamer kind of like restricts me from it's kind of ironic, it restricts me from dreaming.
I want the children that are growing up in the United States to be dreamers also. They're not dreaming right now.
When someone's coming here, more times than not, they're coming because they're trying to get a better situation.
I get a phone call, and my sister told me that they got him. And I said, what do you mean they got him?
Day one, we end a border policy which allows federal agents to snatch babies from the arms of their mothers.
What they want is to turn the United States of America into the United Socialist States of America.
When I heard about America, for me it was like paradise. It was a place where there was no pain, there was no problem, there was no issues.
The beautiful coloring of our country that is happening at a faster pace is creating fear.
USA! USA! USA!
This man who struck these two women, he was deported 8 times.
These incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons.
That's unfair to say someone's a racist because they take a position.
Life is so hard in Haiti or in the country that they had before, they'll take the risk of getting caught. Like, it's almost like all or nothing.
All the data that I've seen indicates that crime is higher in a sanctuary city than in a non-sanctuary city.
There's rules, there's regulations, there's laws.
Like at the end of the day, you know, I'm just like you.
I am you.
I am
You.
you.
In the end, we remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And welcome back to The Conversation. I'm Nubrat. The Conversation. We have a chance to talk to different candidates about, what's going on in the city, and it's election season. I'm here with Susan Nicastro. Susan, first and foremost, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, newbie.
Susan, you're running for re-election for Ward 4 again.
Yes, I am.
For the viewers and people who just got into the political game, explain and tell them who are you, and kind of talk about your background.
Okay. I am a 31-year resident of Ward 4. I moved to Brockton when I married my husband. My husband's lived here his whole life. We've raised 2 sons in Ward 4. They're in their early 20s. I am, by training, I'm an attorney, a real estate attorney. I am a past president and 20-year volunteer at the Charity Guild. They run a food pantry and a thrift store. I've been an activist. I worked hard with other neighbors and Brockton residents against a power plant that tried very hard to come into Ward 4 less than 10 years ago, and is still not a dead project, still something we have to be concerned about. You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Yes. And I'm married 31 years, and I am a hard-working counselor. This is my 3.5 years, my second term. I'd like another 2 years, and we'll see from there. I still have a lot to do, and I've accomplished a lot.
Let's we're talking off air. What are some things that people don't know about you?
Something that people don't know about me is this. I started wearing this bracelet when I was on the planning board, because prior to running for Ward 4 counselor, I was on the planning board for 5 years and the zoning board for 2 years. And this bracelet, I'm a great follower of Mother Teresa, and this bracelet said, "We do no great things, just small things with great love." And someone gave this to me while I was on the planning board, someone who really cares about me, to keep reminding me that the work is not about me. It's about the city. It's about people. And that's been true in all of my activism and in my work on the planning board and the zoning board and at the city council. And you'll see me sometimes, I'm sitting there like, playing with it. It's just the truth. It continues to be the truth, and it grounds me.
Well, it's funny. I have something similar to that. I completed a police documentary a couple of years ago, and then in my car, it's names of people who are in the film. And just kind of, sometimes you kind of get lost, just
yes, you do.
With the day-to-day stuff.
Yes,
and then it always humbles me. Okay, I'm doing it for them.
That's right.
I'm doing it for them. So, yeah, I could definitely, empathize with that. So let's talk about some things that you've accomplished in Ward 4 and some things that you want to do going forward.
Okay. Well, as for accomplishments, it's not a glamorous job, but I've managed to respond to over 500 telephone calls, emails, messages on Facebook, Messenger. I keep track of everything. Part of that is having a law practice, but also because I don't want to lose track of anything. Over 500 I've dealt with and tried to respond positively to. I have a pretty good, I have a real good track record so far. I've also, unglamorous stuff, gritty stuff even, neighborhood problems I get involved in, water and sewer problems. I've been involved in the paving of 6 streets and over 10 streetlights in Ward 4. It's 100 different issues. It's not one issue, and every day it's something different. Someone calling me, sometimes immigration, homelessness, food insecurity. I do everything that I can with all my earthly powers to help people in Ward 4, and also I get calls from outside of Ward 4 because I have a reputation for responding. And I love it. Most days I love it. We recently took a family vacation. Nobody knew I was out of state, but I still took like 21 calls over the course of 5 days. Just, sometimes it's as easy as sending an email on somebody's behalf or following up on information they asked for. It's my pleasure.
So just talk about what separates you from your opponents. You are incumbent and, there's someone running against you. Just talk about, why should they have faith in you for another term?
Well, first of all, I have a positive track record, Secondly, I have a life experience, I have education, I have the background for this. Thirdly, I have some good accomplishments within the city council. I've served on 6 different standing committees in these last 2.5 years. I should tell you, every year the president of the council's big job at the beginning of the year is to assign council members to standing committees. I've served on a number of different ones. In the past, I've been the chairman of the real estate subcommittee of the council. This year, I'm the chairman of the public safety subcommittee. I've also been on the internet technology committee. Last year, Shirley Asak put me on this. Since its inception last year at the beginning of COVID, I've been serving on the mayor's committee, Health Equity Task Force, and I still serve on that, and I really love the work they do, and I'm proud. I mostly troubleshoot for them, but I'm proud of the work they do. It's a group of dedicated volunteers who've made a huge difference in the city's response to COVID.
Let's talk about just bringing some businesses and revenue to the city, and it's a partnership.
Yes,
it's not just one city councilor; it's a partnership between yourself and the mayor, and the rest of the councilors. But bringing revenue to the city, because no one wants a tax hike, but you guys did vote on the tax hike, so everyone's taxes went up. How would you help bring more businesses to this city for that something like that won't happen again? And just explain that whole process of why you need to do that.
Well, first let me address what you said. We voted on a tax hike. We voted to keep the tax rate the same. But because valuations have increased, everybody knows we're in a real estate boom right now. God knows why. Because our tax rate, the values have increased. It's the values times the tax rate. The rate stayed the same, but all our properties are worth more, and that's why taxes went up. Right now, a couple of different ways.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Couple of different ways you can look at that. All of your expenses, all of my expenses certainly goes up. That cable bill, I call every 6 months trying to see if there's some way I can wheel and deal and bring it down, even $50 a month.
Right.
I mean, 300 channels and there's nothing on night after night.
I just want 4 channels. That's about it. ESPN, CNN, TNT. That's about it.
And I do think the day will come when we'll be able to pick from a menu, but it's not here yet. So we're always trying to get our expenses down. It's the same thing, and taxes are part of that. It's the same thing with the city. I've sat on the city's accounts committee since I went on the council, so this is my 3.5 year on it. And we monitor monthly, or almost monthly, what bills the city is paying. Nothing goes down, ever. Nothing goes down for the city as well. And therefore, unfortunately, there's always, a need for a little more money. We want to add more people to the school department. We need a little more money.
How do we do that?
We get a lot of funding in the city because of its demographics, because of it being gateway city from the state, and that's wonderful. We're taking wonderful opportunity of the or advantage of the Student Opportunity Act
Right.
coming in finally to give our children what they deserve. We've been underfunded by the state for a number of years. Our school department has been. And so the presentation that Mike Thomas made to us the night of the budget was just amazing. All of the support services that are being put back, intramural sports, middle school sports, all really important stuff for the overall development of our children. COVID has really hurt our children mentally and psychically as
Right.
well as in what they're learning. And I am hopeful that a couple of years of this full funding is going to make a huge difference.
Let's talk about last year. Obviously, a worldwide protests around the country,
Yes.
and locally about policing, and it became an issue, and it's been an issue for a long time. But
Yes.
it just reared again with George Floyd. How do we turn the protests into progress? There's been complaints, and again, it's not just one person's job, that the protests, there hasn't been progress made since that, in terms of that. So what can you do as a city council? I know, the big thing last year was checking the police budget and seeing, what could happen to reallocate funds.
Yes.
What could the council do to help improve those relations with the community and with the police?
Well, I mentioned to you before, I'm the chair of the Public Safety Committee, and it is responsible for public safety issues involving police, fire, emergency management, that kind of stuff. I have initiated resolves that have brought Police Chief Gomes in front of us to discuss the impacts of retail marijuana sales, impacts of different things that come into the community on the police, and therefore on our citizenry. It's a work in progress. Last year, the year before, last year, the state passed the police reform bill,
Right.
which is a huge sweeping change. Some people say it didn't go too far or far enough. Other people say it went too far. I don't know, we'll see. But there are changes being imposed this year because, it's a phased imposition. And I'd like to see what happens. I really like to see what happens and what we see on the grassroots level in Brockton for improvements.
What are some things, if you get reelected, you'd make a priority going forward?
Playgrounds. And I've been banging the drum about the playgrounds in Ward 4, playgrounds and parks, needing improvements and, make them nicer. Some of them are really bad. And in fact, I managed to persuade Representative Jerry Cassidy to include in the current budget $50,000 for improving. It's called the Old Gilmore Playground. It's on Grove Street. Just a little old playground. And coincidentally, it's on land that my husband's great-grandfather owned about 100 years ago. So it's special to my husband's family. But yeah, playgrounds, places for our children to go that families don't have to go far. And the other thing is, I want a dog park. I really want a dog park. We have several thousand dog licenses issued every day every year in the city. And I think we need a dog park. I really do.
You talking about the particular ward or somewhere in the city?
I think the city needs it, but I think there's enough city land in Ward 4 that we could carve out an acre of a dog park. I think it would be wonderful.
So we got a few minutes left. Got about 2 minutes left. I just want you to just kind of reiterate why should the voters vote for you again to put you back in Ward 4 as this next city councilor?
Okay. Well, I put my citizens first. I am a constituent services department of one, and I work very hard to listen to, respond to what my constituents need. I've gotten involved organizing citizens to oppose actually two large apartment complexes and subdivisions. I'm there. I hold meetings. A lot of the people commented to me as I was going door to door when I first ran, we really need to have ward meetings. And until COVID, I had several ward meetings a year. And the other thing I do that people don't realize, but it does make a difference, I show up and I listen. I go to all kinds of meetings, community groups, library presentations. I really care. I really want to make a difference. I go to meetings of the zoning board, the planning board, the license commission, traffic. if there's anything on that that affects Ward 4 or a Ward 4 resident, I'm looking at it.
Actually, no, I forgot to ask you one question. One of our younger viewers wanted me to ask this question to you. A lot of young people don't feel like they're heard. You figure you have about a little over 1,500 to 2,000 kids graduate, seniors every year,
Yes.
between the three schools, Southeastern, Cardinal and Brockton High.
Yes.
How do you connect with them and make them feel like they're heard and their concerns are being heard? And what would you say to them?
Get in touch with your counselor. Ask them to meet you for a cup of tea. Coincidentally, last year I was hearing from several high schoolers at Southeastern Regional. They had an American history class. They were given assignments. Reach out to your counselor, tell them something that you need or that your neighborhood needs, and keep in touch with them until you get it. And there were several of them. One kind of dropped off, but the other one I still hear from her. She wanted her neighborhood roads paved. They're going to be paved. Coincidentally, I keep a list, and so their roads were getting to the top of my list. So it was a road that I had asked for, but it is getting done. And if she takes credit, that's okay.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much, and I
Thanks
wish you
for
the
having
best in the campaign trail.
Thank you.
And we'd love to have you back. For just kind of keep us updated on what's going on in the community.
Okay, I will come back.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
Your
so much.
documentary work, I just want to tell you, I admire you very much. You do great work, and you're an asset in Brockton. I hope you know that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
It means a lot to me.
And it's not even because you had me on your show.
Thank you so much. I
All right.
appreciate it.